Have you had a chance to watch the film from
Yes.
Saturday? What did you take away from it?
Obviously a learning experience, but so late in the season, you don't want to have to learn from a game like that, and especially when we were so close to winning and things like that. You can't take any credit from UVA. They made enough plays to win the game, and we didn't. And there's some things that I could have done as a quarterback to erase a lot of the mistakes we made, but it happens. So it was tough to watch, though. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough to watch.
Was that maybe the toughest game that you had to watch this year back in school?
Yeah, definitely. I think that probably, I've made mistakes this season, but just the fact that it was mistakes in crucial points in the game, was really hard for me. Just a tough pill to swallow, but you have to assess it, and you still have to learn from it.
EJ, your first road game as a starter, well, not the first road game, but one of your first few games as a starter.
Sorry.
You got to go in Gainesville when they're really good. And talk about the experience that day, maybe a couple of things that you learned the most that you'll be able to apply on Saturday, because regardless of the record, it's still going to be a large crowd, a hostile crowd, a loud crowd.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now I feel, was that 2 years ago, I think? So I'm 2 years older now. I'm not injured as far as my right shoulder being hurt. It was crazy. It was one of those things that was kind of surreal because 2 years before that game, I was watching them on TV, having great games and things like that, watching the Florida State-Florida rivalry. And now I was actually in it, playing in it, and it was kind of surreal. But at the same time, you can't let the moment be bigger than what it actually is. It's still a football game. It's still only 22 people on the field at the same time. So I'm looking forward to it. They're a great team, and I think it'll be a great time for us, to get some respect back and get a good taste in our mouth.
Have you come across a louder road stadium to your experience than that?
Honestly, I can't really remember. I think that probably have been the loudest. All I can remember from that game is just the lights, the cameras flashing. When Tim Tebow had his last couple of snaps, that was kind of surreal. I was like, wow, it's crazy. But as far as being loud, I can't really remember. I'm sorry.
Did it compare to Duke at all?
Yeah, I was about to. No, just kidding. Not in comparison, no sir.
What about for yourself? You were saying it might be a big night for the team itself moving forward, but not to look too far, in the future. Of course, you guys still have the ball left, but for next year, even, what would it mean for you to have a strong performance and bounce back?
Yeah, it definitely mean a lot to us to wrap the season up strong, and then obviously get our goal as far as being state champs. We beat Miami, and we'd like to beat Florida as well. Kind of same situation. A lot of guys that on this team also played with these guys in high school and played against them. So it's going to be a very competitive, tough game. And that's what we want. That's what we're expecting.
What about for you yourself, though? Just moving forward and obviously bouncing.
Yeah, any great performance for me is always going to be good. I feel like if I play well, my team will play well. So just got to go out there and just focus. Pay attention to all the small details. That's something that Coach Fisher really stressed in this past game. We watched the film this morning, is to pay attention to all the small details.
EJ, is there anything you can do from a cadence perspective to maybe help your offensive line with some of those pre-snap penalties? It's been a problem the last couple of weeks.
I don't know.
Is that out of your hands once the play's called?
Right, yeah. I asked those guys after it happens, I'm like, am I going too slow? Am I going too fast? And, usually they'll say, no, it's just them. Those guys, they want to, when you carry, man, you sometimes make mistakes. It's kind of a good and a bad thing at the same time. So, those guys just want an extra hand or a quicker jump at the defensive guy to get a hand on them. But I don't think it's something I can really do. We'll work on it in practice, though.
EJ, can you look back this year and tell two parts? Where you think you progressed the most, and then what you think, maybe that you haven't as much as you would like, what you need to work on most?
I think the biggest thing I progressed on was just, moving on from mistakes. When something bad happens, just process it and try not to make that same mistake twice. And another thing I always like to work on is continuing getting better at just, my progressions during the game. Watching more film. You can never watch enough film, so I think that's something any quarterback you ask them what they need to work on. It'll always be, learning more about defenses and, trying to, learn ways to attack them. So that's what I would say.
EJ, on the third down sack on the drive before the last drive, it looked like your first read was to the right, and then was that right? And then when you look back to the left, it looked like there was pressure.
Yeah, it was. The read was to the right. And it was. I knew the situation because I had told the guys before we broke the huddle, we have points. Don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything, to take us back, and then I take the sack. So, I got up from the tackle, and I was extremely upset at myself. But, it kind of happened really fast, and, it's still no excuse. I should have got the ball out, thrown it away or done something with it. instead of taking a sack, because that was a crucial point in the game. We could have locked the game up right there with a field goal. So that was, like when I watched that film this morning, it was just tough to see.
EJ, their season hasn't gone very well, and since they're at home, can this be a dangerous opponent just because maybe you get somebody cornered and it's all they've got left to play for? Do you think that they will come out and play well and have a lot of emotion?
I think not necessarily that. I think they're going to come out and want to play well regardless, just like we want to. It's still a rivalry game, and I'm sure they feel like they haven't won some games that they wish they could have won, just like we have. And I think that's not necessarily a danger. I think it's just the nature of the beast. It's going to be a very competitive game, and that's what we expect. So I wouldn't say it's not a dangerous team, feeling like they have nothing to lose or anything like that. They're still a good football team.
EJ, you said earlier about a few minutes ago about this is for the state championship, which you won last year. But going into the season, I have to believe you guys thought you'd be playing for a lot more at this stage than just the state championship. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, pretty much. That's all that everybody was talking about. Obviously, every season we come into it wanting to be a national champion contender, and to be able to play in that game, the last game of the season. That's what everybody wants on this team and in this program and in this city. So it didn't happen.
But how disappointing has that been, and what are you guys talking about? The other night you were a 3-touchdown favorite in that game.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You can finish.
Well, I was just going to say, how disappointing has it been, and you're going into a rivalry game, but at the end of the season, that certainly has not met, I'm sure, your own expectations.
Oh yeah. Whenever you don't reach goals, it's always tough. But that's why you have goals. Some of them you may not reach, and some of them you will. And the ones that you still have an opportunity to reach, that's what you want to do. And obviously a national championship or the ACC championship isn't within our grasp. So we still have another game, though. We still have 2 more games, Florida and then the bowl game. So to respect ourselves and our fans, we still want to go out there and play well in these last 2 games.
EJ, you talked about how hard it was to watch the film, and Bert the other night was pretty broken up about the game. And how difficult have the emotions been, and how have the guys been these last 2 days since the game bounced back?
I think we're fine. Obviously we're upset because we lost the game. We're all extreme competitors, even amongst each other. Like when we're playing video games, we all want to win, and that'll get heated sometime, but it's fun. But anywho, when you lose a game, you never want to, and at the same time, you just want to process your mistakes and learn from it. And that's all I can really say. There's nothing more I can really say about it. Just the mistakes that we did make, don't make them this week.
Can you take us through the huddle on the pass play to Burt, where if it would have been a catch, the game's over because you don't have any time.
Right.
What was the thinking there, and what was the conversation in the huddle? And did he know whether or not he was supposed to catch the ball, drop the ball? Or?
Right. Yeah, we all know the situation. We've done it since I've been here at least 100 times. Like literally, we've done that situation. And if he doesn't have a chance to get out of bounds, he'll just knock the ball down. And if he does have a chance to get out of bounds, he'll catch it, then go out of bounds to stop the clock. And that's what we talked about in the huddle. We knew the situation, and that's just what happened.
Do you have any concern? You had time though to get all that done. It was.
I think that play only takes about 4 seconds. As far as the snap, me catching it and then throwing it out, and him getting out of bounds, just knocking it down. It doesn't take that long. But we practice it all the time.
So does that mean him trying to catch that ball was technically the wrong thing to do?
I think he probably thought he might have been closer to the sideline than he was. I don't know. You probably have to ask Bert. I didn't ask him yet, but I'm not sure.
We've heard you talk about sight adjustments and audibles and blitz protections, and you got 5 guys who can catch a route, pretty much every pass play.
Sure.
Would you consider this a complicated offense? Is it sometimes just a lot to handle?
I wouldn't say it's complicated, but it is a lot. I think Coach Fisher would tell you that as well. We know a lot more football than the average college guy or the average NFL sometimes. I think we go through a lot. Not as far as we go through a lot, but we learn a lot. There's a lot of different things, especially as a quarterback, that you have to get used to. You have to be able to recognize at the line of scrimmage and things like that right before the play. You're pretty much responsible for the whole offense. So yes, it is a lot into our offense. Yes, sir.
You've been here long enough to have a feel for, FSU's got certain rivalries. I'm sure there's one with Clemson, Miami, Florida. Does this one have a different feel to the other two rivalries than maybe FSU, Miami? Is FSU, Florida different in any way?
I think they're about the same to me. I'm not a Florida guy. I'm not from here, but to me, being in these games these past 4 years I've been here, they've all been crazy, and they've all been extremely competitive. I've only played in 2, which is the UF one and the Miami one this past year. So you have to bring your A game. You know, it's gonna be tough. Guys are gonna hit you late. Guys are gonna do whatever they have to do to get a win. And you know, I wouldn't say one's bigger than the other though. They're both extremely competitive.
Going back to the sequence of the game there, have you guys ever practiced where basically something happens where you're not able to get out of bounds and the special teams has a run on the field?
Yep, we have we call it a Toro alert. I don't know if I'm telling you, but we call it a Toro alert, and the guys will come out there, line up, and kick the ball. So yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, has it gone smoothly?
Oh yeah, yes, sir.
You did the sack that you took on that second to last drive. Now, obviously, there was a running back that should have picked up somebody that didn't. There were so, and Jimbo was talking about all these other missed assignments and crucial situations. How frustrating is that? You're 11 games into the season, and you have seniors and guys that have been playing a long time making some pretty big mistakes in big spots.
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak for myself though. You know, the mistakes that I made is just tough, man. I mean, kind of make your stomach sick. You know what I mean? Like when there's opportunities out there, and you could have. You know, if you had just done the smallest little thing, the smallest little detail, the outcome of the game would have been different. And, you know, like I said, I'm only speaking for myself. I mean, as far as the mistakes I made, you just can't make them, especially in crucial points in the game. Coach Fisher always says you can play situations good and play bad and still win, but you can play situations bad and play great and still lose. So that's how it goes.
EJ, how much more freedom do you have since the start of the season to make changes at the line?
I would say it's probably equal. I felt like from the beginning of the season, Coach Fisher gave me a lot of room to make checks at the line, to change protections, to call out mics and things like that. So I would say I had a good amount of freedom.
You mentioned, I think, and answer maybe Tom's question, that you think the area maybe some of your most growth is coming in your perspective to handle the failures and stuff. Can you talk a little more about that? What are the reasons that you feel that you've made those big strides?
Right. I think it's just maturing as a person. Because I'm the type of person, like, I would care so much that I always want to be successful, and you have to understand that in sports, it's not always going to be that way. Sometimes you'll have a good game, and sometimes you'll have a great game, sometimes you'll have a horrible game, and you have to understand that. And you never want to have a horrible game, but it's inevitable. It's sports. You know, you can't be on top all the time. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, just maturing and understanding that, and, not putting my head down, because I'm the quarterback of this team. And if I put my head down, then the rest of the guys will do the same thing.
Well, did you ever do that?
I think early on, when I was like a freshman, I did it one time in practice, and Coach Fisher had got on me hard one day in practice, and I just put my head down. I was upset, and from that day on, I learned from it. But not so much in the game, no sir.
We know you were not an option guy in high school. Are you still feel like you're kind of learning the feel of that zone read stuff and who you're reading and who you're optioning, things like that?
Not really. I did make a mistake in one of the zone or one of the belly reads in the game, but I don't think that's something that's it's a pretty easy read for me. So I wouldn't say I'm still trying to learn that or whatever.
EJ, once you saw the film, how do you evaluate that final drive? I mean, it was just sort of seemed odd, just how everything had progressed. How do you?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was weird. They gave we had the penalty. I guess they call it a face mask or whatever, illegal roughness or something like that, and that gave us a first down to continue the drive going. It was just tough, man. Then trying to get Rodney a shot deep in the end zone, and he didn't catch it, and probably could have thrown a better ball, get over his helmet a little bit more, make it easier for him. But the game's over with now, so.
Was that the play? Was he the primary Rodney on that pass?
Not necessarily. When I saw him pressed, saw the corner pressed on him, I felt like Rodney being 6'6", 6'5", he has an advantage over the guy, so why not give him a chance? We still had time on the clock and things like that. So.
When you let it go, do you think you won the game?
Yeah, I did. I did. I felt good about it when it left my hands, but it didn't come out with it.
Was that the same play that you had the Miami touchdown
Not
on?
the same exact play. No, sir.
Was Burt the only option to throw to on that last play, or are you reading the field? Is he the one guy you're looking at?
No, he's not the only option. I'm basically reading the corner. So if the corner drops back, I'll hit Burt, and if the corner stays and presses on Burt, I'll hit the guy in the hole, the other receiver, the Z. I actually know the X in the hole.
To get the first down and stop the clock?
To get the first down or to just get out of bounds.
Okay, got it.
EJ, who do you like, Virginia Tech, Virginia?
That's I'm not even sure, man. Both teams are playing great football. I think Virginia Tech is playing great. I can't really say who's going to win. I don't want to make any predictions.
Jimbo mentioned the late in the season mental fatigue, just guys. You talked about the attention to detail. Is that something that players even you would even realize that might be happening?
Uh,
You think it's,
Not really, because I mean we're young. I mean we're so used to just the daily grind. Like I'm used to coming here every Monday, set my alarm to be here on time and things like that. So, and then the same way with class. You know, it's kind of the same monotonous thing every week, week in and week out. But that's what you're expected to do that as a college football player. That's why you're in college, to get your academics and things like that. So if you stay ahead of all of it, it doesn't really wear and tear on your mind as far as the season goes. But you just got to be responsible in what you do off the field.
EJ, the last two games have had a lot of official reviews and taken a long time. Is it hard to stay in an offensive rhythm when you have these long delays like that?
Sometimes it is, but at the same time, I don't want to use that as an excuse as to why, sometimes we get into a rut and things like that as an offense. But sometimes it is, yes. When you're off the field for a long time or you have a long challenge and things like that, it kind of does throw you off a little bit.
You graduate December?
Yes, sir. December 16th, yes, sir. Yep.
Congrats.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You hadn't done it yet.
Yeah.
Sorry, say it again.
I said you hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, man, I'll get it done, though. I'm done with it. Yes, sir. Trust me, I'm done with it.
safe to say you probably beat everybody in this room in terms of,
As far as getting a degree, yeah.
What did you degree?
Communications and a minor in sociology.
Did you start a master's curriculum in the spring?
Yes, sir.
And what's
International affairs.
EJ, what's the dynamic in deciding the running back, who plays for most of the game, who plays for part of the game? It looks like Devonta was in there pretty solidly, and then Jermaine got in, made some good plays the other day. But how does that work out? I mean, are the coaches just going with a guy who makes a couple of good plays early?
I think that basically is up to Coach Grant and Coach Fisher. I think all those guys can play. Devonta has been playing great these past couple of weeks, and that's probably why they gave him the start and things like that. But then you have Jermaine and James Wilder to come in and make some other plays as well. James has done a great job, and Jermaine has too. So that's up to Coach Grant, though. I'm not sure how that really goes down.
I don't know, do you think, do you like the idea that it's spread out a little bit, or?
As far as different guys?
Or would you feel better if there was like one established running back there that you could play with?
Honestly, I'm used to it. I'm used to, somebody being somebody different, whether it's Lonnie, Devontae, Jermaine, Chris if he was healthy, Ty Jones, whoever. I'm used to it. I can't really say I'm used to somebody just that one back. Like in the NFL, you always have that one guy that's always there starting and things like that. So I'm used to it. I can't really say.
All right. Good.